welcome back to another cool video in React Native. So in this video, we'll be building a complete flow of Redux shopping cart in React Native. Okay, so this can be even followed in React as well. So the main thing I'll be focusing on is to increase the item quantity in the home page as well as the cart page. Okay, so whenever we increase the quantity in the home page, the same quantity for that particular item should be reflected in the cart page. And whenever I increase or decrease the item quantity in the cart page, the same thing should be reflected in our home page products. Okay, so we'll be implementing that in this video, that is by using the Redux toolkit. And if you find this interesting, please hit the like button and also subscribe for more such content. Okay, so I think let's get started. So firstly, let me explain the boilerplate code that is present. Okay, so inside my file tree, I've created the home screen.js and I have rendered that inside my app.js, as you can see. So if you check out our home screen over here, so we have just used dummy data, that is there is an images array. So to just check out the images array, we have pretty much, I think, three objects, that is three items. So each of the object has a unique ID. It has the image link, and basically the name of the item, and basically the quantity of that particular item. Initially it is set to 0, and I'll be sending the links in the description, that is the image links to if you want to use it. Okay, so over here inside the home screen.js, I'm basically mapping through each image, basically the images array that is present inside over here. Okay, so basically for each image that is present inside of our images array, for each item that is present, we are returning a new item. Okay, that is our menu item. So basically menu item is taking the key and some data as props, that is the item itself. So this item is subjected to each and every object that is present over here. Okay, so now let's open up our menu item over here. So inside my menu item, I'm basically receiving the props over here by destructuring it, that is item, and we are initializing a pressable, and you can pretty much check out the styles for the pressable. And basically I'm initializing a view, and we have one text and one image. So the first text is going to take, of course, the name, which you can see over here, and the second text is the image. You can check out the styles for that. And pretty much we have a pressable which is going to contain our button, that is add to cart over here. And for this we have given a justify content of space between and align item center. So that's the reason it's looking like this. Okay, so that's it about the boilerplate code explanation. I think that's it, I've done. So the next thing we'll be focusing on is to install Redux, okay, into the system. So let's do that part. Okay, so let's pretty much open up a new terminal over here, and let's move into Redux toolkit and get started. Okay, so since we are using yarn, let's install it using yarn. Okay, so yeah, this one, we need React Redux also. Let's pretty much copy that piece of code and paste it over here, and let's wait for it to install the Redux toolkit package. And now let's install React Redux. This is also required for us. Okay, I think both of them have been installed. So just to give a check, let's check out our package.json. Okay, we have React Redux and Redux toolkit. Okay, yeah, so both of them have been installed. So the next thing we'll be focusing on is to create our first reducer, that is our cart reducer. Okay, so let's press on new file, and we're going to say cart reducer.js. okay, so over here inside the cart reducer, we'll be writing all of the actions that we require. So basically we'll be focusing on four things, that is add to cart, remove from cart, increment quantity, and decrement quantity. So I think this part has been already done in the previous video, but again I'll explain each one of the action and the reducer as well. Okay, so first thing inside the cart reducer is to import the create slice method. So we're going to say create slice like this and import it from Redux toolkit. Okay, so now we'll be saying export const cart slice equals to create slice. It's going to take in basically an object like this. So it has different attributes inside over here. So the first thing is the name. Okay, so since we are trying to build a cart system, it is simple. So we're gonna give the name as cart. Okay, we're gonna say cart. Okay, so the second attribute it takes is the initial state. So we're gonna say initial state like this. And basically inside the initial state we need to pass in whatever value we need to give in the initial states. Okay, so since we are building a cart system, as I already told, we will need array so that we can store all of the added items into the cart. So we'll be making use of an empty array at the initial state. Okay, because when the app loads there is no items added into the cart, right? So that's the reason I'm putting an empty cart, an empty array over there. And the next thing is the reducers come in now. So we're going to say reducers is going to take in an object. Okay, so now we'll be initializing our first reducer. Okay, so the first one is going to be add to cart. So we're going to say add to cart like this, and it's going to take in the state and the action. So first let's see how we can define it. Okay, so firstly, if at all there is an item present inside the cart, and if we press on the add to cart button, then in that case we should just simply increase the quantity of that particular item. Okay, so if there is no item present inside our cart, and if we press on the add to cart button for the first time, then we should pretty much push all of the details of that particular item into the cart, and we should initialize the quantity as 1. Okay, so according to that, let's write the condition. So firstly, let's check if the item is there in the cart or not. So we're going to say const item present equals to state.cart. We'll be making use of the find method for this. Okay, we'll be checking if the item.id is equals to the action.payload.id. Okay, so if this condition becomes true, that means our item is present in the cart already. So we're going to say if item present. In that case, we're just going to say item present will be accessing the quantity plus. Okay, and after that we have the else condition. So if it goes into the else condition, that means our item is not at all present inside the cart. So that means we are pressing the add to cart button for the first time for that particular item. Okay, so for that reason we're going to say state dot cart dot push. Basically we'll be including whatever is the action.payload that we give. That is basically the image, the name, the quantity, and all those details, and we'll be initializing the quantity as 1 for that particular item. Okay, so that's it about the add to cart. So you can pretty much check out how we have written it based on this condition. So if it is present, just increase the quantity. If it is not present, then push that details of that item and initialize the quantity as 1 for that particular item. Okay, so the next thing we'll be looking into is remove from cart. So let's write that remove from cart like this. So this also is going to take in basically the state and action. Okay, so inside our remove from cart, we'll be making use of the filter method to remove a particular item. Okay, if at all we press on the remove from cart or the minus button. Okay, so we're going to say const remove from cart equals to we'll be accessing the state dot cart dot filter method. So we'll be filtering based on the id. So if the item dot id is not equal to the action dot payload dot id, so that's the condition for this. So basically we'll be filtering out that particular item from the cart. So that's why we are accessing state dot cart, and we'll be equating that to the cart itself. Okay, so we're going to say state dot cart equals to remove from cart. Okay, so I think that's it about the remove from cart. So the next thing we'll be looking into is our increment quantity. Okay, so let's write that out. Okay, so increment quantity is applied on the plus button that we'll be initializing. Okay, so state comma action again. Okay, so this also is going to be similar. So that is if the item is present. Okay, in that case we'll be just increasing the quantity. So pretty much I'm copying the first line that is present inside add to cart, paste it over here. So if at all the item is present, we'll just be saying item present dot quantity plus like this. Okay, so the next thing we'll be looking into is the final one, that is decrement quantity. Okay, it's going to take in the state and action, and basically what we'll be doing over here is, again, we'll check the item condition, that is if it is present or not. Okay, so this decrement quantity is applied on the minus button. So firstly we'll check if the item quantity is set to 1. Okay, so in case the item quantity is set to 1 and if we press on the minus button, then we should basically remove that item from the cart and we should show the add to cart button again. Okay, so if at all the quantity is more than 1, let's say 2, 3, 5 or even 10, then in that case, if the user presses on the minus button, then we should pretty much decrease the quantity by 1. Okay, so we're going to check that first. So if item present dot quantity equals to 1, then in this case pretty much we'll copy whatever is there inside of a remove from cart. Okay, because that's what we need to perform. So just paste it over here. Okay, else that means the quantity is more. So in this case we're just going to say item present dot quantity minus minus. Okay, so that's it about all of the 4 reducers that is coming from our cart reducer. Okay, so you can just check out the code once more. Yeah, so now let's start exporting all the details. We're going to say export const add to cart remove from cart increment quantity decrement quantity equals to cart slice dot actions. Okay, then we're going to export default cart slice dot reducer. Okay, so that's it. We have created our first reducer, that is a cart reducer. So let's pretty much save our file. And now let's firstly create our store. That is important, right? So let's open up a file tree and let's press on new file. We're going to say store.js. Okay, so the first thing inside the store is to initialize our configure store method. So let's do that right away. We're going to say import configure store from the Redux toolkit like this, and we're going to say export default store. Okay, and I mean not store, it should be configure store. It's going to take in an object like this. So this is further going to take in all the reducers that are present. Okay, we're going to say reducer. So first one, let's give it as, so the name is going to be, let's say cart, and the item is going to be cart reducer. It's going to come from the cart reducer file as such, and we have imported it like this. Okay, so I think that's it about the store part. So let's save the file. So now we have just set up our first reducer and the store. So for now everything to work, we need to include the provider inside our main app.js. So let's go do that. So over here inside the return statement, we're going to say provider, import from React Redux as such like this. So the provider is going to take in an attribute called as the store value. Okay, so we're going to pass in the home screen as such like this. We're going to say store, and we have already exported inside our store file. So let's pretty much import our store file over here. Okay, I think it's not working. Yeah, it is there over here. Yeah, so we can import store like this and save the file. Okay, hopefully nothing should go wrong. Yeah, I think everything has been set up correctly. So the next thing we'll be looking into is one thing, that is we'll be creating our second reducer, that is for our products page. Okay, so let's go do that. So we're going to say product reducer.js. Okay, we're going to say, okay, so over here firstly we'll be initializing our again create slice as similar to this one. So let's pretty much copy that out and paste it over here. We're going to say export const product slice equals to create slice like this. Okay, and the first thing is similar to the first thing over here itself. So the first thing is the name attribute. So we're going to say name. So since we'll be focusing on the product page, we'll be writing product over here. And the next thing is the initial state. Okay, so as I told, I'll be focusing on one thing, that is the increment of quantity in the home page. It should be same as well as the cart page. Okay, so whenever we try to increase the quantity in the home page, the same thing should be reflected in the cart page and vice versa, right? So for that reason, we'll be creating a new kind of array over here, that is product. and we'll be passing an empty array over here again. Okay, so over here now the reducers come in. So currently inside our home screen, what is happening is we are using the images data, okay, whereas now we'll be using our products data. So for that reason, firstly let's fetch our products. We'll be using Redux for that. Okay, so we're going to say get products over here. So this is pretty much going to take in our state and action as such, like this. Okay, and basically we'll be pushing basically all the details of these products into this products array that is present. Okay, so we're going to say state dot products dot push basically the action dot payload. Okay, so I think that's it. So let's save the file. I think we have two more reducers coming. We'll look into that afterwards. So now let's export the correct details. So we're going to say export const what is that, get products equals to product slice dot actions, and it's going to be export default product slice dot reducer. Okay, so now the next thing is to include our product reducer inside of our store. Okay, so it's going to take in the second reducer. So let's give it a name. Let's say product for now. We're going to say product, and the name is going to be product reducer. Let's import it like this as such and save the file. Okay, so now we've created two reducers, that is one for cart and one for product. Okay, so now instead of using the images data, we'll be making use of the products data. Okay, so for that we'll be making use of a listener basically, that is use effect. Okay, so we're going to say use effect. Okay, so the way the use effect runs is, so in case we do not have any dependency array, so before that this use effect is going to trigger off once every once the home screen component loads. Okay, so if at all there is no dependency array inside our use effect, this use effect is going to run every once the home screen loads, and every once whenever there is a state update inside this particular page, right? So if we include empty dependency array, this use effect is going to run only once when the home screen component loads. Okay, so if at all we have, let's say, some attributes inside our dependency array, it's going to run every once the home screen loads, and again every once when this attribute changes. Okay, that is when the item value changes, it is going to run again. So that's the basic understanding of use effect. So inside our use effect, firstly we'll be checking if, okay, so before that let's access our products. Okay, so we're going to say const products equals to, so we'll be basically getting this product. Okay, so for that reason we'll be making use of the use selector hook in React Redux. So we're going to say use selector, so basically access the state. So to get the product, it's going to be state dot the reducer name, that is product, and to get the product array, it's going to be this name, that is product. So let's write that again. So just to check, let's give a console.log of product. So you should be seeing an empty array. Okay, products, right, not product. So let's pretty much save the file. So if you check out our console over here, yeah, so as you can see, we are able to see an empty array. Okay, that's correctly working. So the next thing is, yeah, into the use effect. So firstly, we're going to check if the products.length is greater than 0. So if it is greater than 0, we should just return from this use effect. Otherwise, it's again going to call this use effect whenever this home component loads, and again it's going to take in the images, and it's going to show us multiple times. Okay, so for that reason, what we'll be doing is, firstly we'll apply the condition, which is going to say if products.length is greater than 0, then simply return from it. If it is not greater than 0, that means we have no products present. So we'll be just saying, initializing a new function. It's going to say const fetch products, and arrow function like this, such, and we'll be saying basically images.map for each image that is present inside our images array, we'll be making use of the dispatch. Okay, so to use dispatch, we need to initialize our dispatch hook. So we're gonna say const dispatch equals to use dispatch and import it from React Redux as such like this. Okay, so now we'll be basically dispatching our first action, that is this one, get product. So let's pretty much copy that and let's import it from our product reducer file. And the payload is basically the item, I mean not the item, the image. So let's import our get products from the product reducer as such like this. Okay, so I think we can save the file and we can call the fetch products function to work over here. Okay, so let's save the file again. So I'll explain again how the use effect works. Okay, so firstly we are checking if the products.length is greater than 0. If at all it's greater than 0, then we are just simply returning out of the use effect. Okay, so this condition is applied just to give it a check. Otherwise what happens is it keeps on calling whenever this page loads. Okay, so for that reason multiple images can be stored inside our products array. So to prevent that, we are just applying this basic condition. Okay, and after that inside the function we are basically mapping through each image and we are dispatching our get products. Okay, and the payload we're passing is the image. So image in the sense all of these objects will be pushed into the products array. Okay, so now instead of images, okay, we're gonna say products like this, and we are gonna save the file. Nothing should happen because our products is already present inside of so products has been initialized because of the use effect that we have written, and all the images data is now currently present in products. Okay, and this use effect is going to run only once because we have provided an empty dependency array, right? So the next thing we'll be looking into is we'll be basically dispatching events into the store. Okay, so basically let's come back to our cart reducer and we'll be initializing not cart reducer, basically the menu item, and we'll be giving our on press events. Okay, so we're gonna say on press equals to, it's gonna take in a function which is gonna say add item to cart, and it's gonna take in the item itself. Okay, so item in the sense it's coming from the props. Okay, so let's initialize our function right at the top over here. So we're gonna say const add item to cart equals to, it's gonna take in our item, and we'll be defining it over here. Okay, so before doing this, what we're gonna do is let's correctly map things correctly. Okay, so let's come back to our home screen, and wherever we have our products being rendered, so we're gonna give a text attribute which says, okay, we're gonna say products page right over here, and for the text we're gonna give a style, let's say a font size of 18 and a text align of center and a bit of margin top of 20. Okay, why am I not able to see that? Or we can give this, let's save the file over here. Okay, it's gonna come every time, right? So let's give it some color of red. Okay, that's weird. I'm not able to see the text. Why is that happening? Let's keep it 80. Yeah, okay, that's cool. Now we are able to see the products. Okay, so let's give 50 or 60. Yeah, so this is basically the products page. It is not being seen because it is almost going at the top part of the site. So now after this we'll be initializing another text. Okay, so we'll be showing all the cart items here itself in the home screen just to understand better. Okay, so this is gonna say cart page. Okay, and let us format it once over here and save the file. So just to be safe, we'll be making use of the scroll view. Okay, so just at all if the if we add more items into the cart, basically there is no space to include 3 items, right? So instead of a view, I'll be making use of a scroll view over here. Same thing over here. Okay, save the file. Yeah, so the first thing we'll be doing is let's initialize. Yeah, I think already this is initialized, that is our function. Yeah, so add to cart is, firstly we'll be getting our dispatch. Let's do that. So const dispatch equals to use dispatch. Let's import it from React Redux as such. Okay, so whenever the user presses on the add to cart button, we'll be dispatching this event, that is add to cart. So let's do that right away. We're going to say dispatch add to cart of that particular item. Okay, so after doing this, so this is for our cart page. Okay, just to remember, just to be sure, this is for our cart page. This is basically our cart array being used. Okay, so after that, now we need to make changes inside our product area also, right? So for that reason, I'll be now initializing basically 2 more things inside our reducers, that is increment quantity okay, because we need to see the same quantity in the home screen as well as the cart screen. We'll be initializing 2 more actions, 2 more reducers basically. Okay, I'll be copying the same thing from the cart reducer basically, and just changing the state. Okay, so increment quantity is this thing, so let's paste it over here, and decrement quantity is this thing, let's paste it over here. Okay, so that's cool. So instead of state.cart, it's going to be state.product. That's the only difference. State.product. Okay, let's write that correctly. And here also state.product, and here also state.product. Okay, I think other than that, everything has to be same. Okay, state.product, and yeah, save the file, and let's pretty much import our export the value, that is going to be increment quantity and decrement quantity. Okay, let's pretty much save our file, and let's come back to a menu item. So once we have dispatched, so this one is for cart array being used. So the next thing we'll be dispatching is our increment quantity, that is coming from our product reducer and not the cart reducer. Okay, so be sure while implementing that part. So we'll be including increment quantity. Yeah, so as you can see, one is from cart reducer and one is from product reducer. So we'll be taking it from the product reducer and not the cart reducer. So import it from product reducer as such, and basically it's going to be item. So this one is the product array being used. Okay, so let's understand how the second dispatch is going to work. Okay, so over here, basically we are trying to find that item that is present inside our products array. So if you carefully observe inside our home screen, so products array is already filled with all of these 3 items, right? Because whenever the app component loads, we have our home screen, and this use effect is going to get triggered off. So for that reason, all the images are of course present inside our products array. Okay, and in that product array, we are just checking the item that we just pressed on. Okay, so basically if that particular item is present, then we are just going to increase that quantity by +1. Okay, so I hope you understood that part. So that's the reason we are doing this. Okay, so let's save the file. So now we'll be applying our second condition, that is inside our menu item. Okay, so if at all this, if at all our cart has any one of the item, then we'll be showing our minus and plus button. If there is no if there is no item present inside our cart, we'll be just showing the add to cart button itself. Okay, so to do that part, let's initialize our condition. So firstly, let's access our cart inside our menu item. So we're going to say cart. So this is going to be similar to the way we initialized our product array. So we're going to say const cart equals to use selector imported from React Redux as such, and access the state. And to access the cart, it's going to be state dot the reducer name, that is cart basically, and the cart value. So if you go to cart reducer, the cart value is over here inside the initial state dot cart. Okay, save the file. And yeah, I think if you initialize it over here, yeah, I think no matter, it's gonna work. So fine. So we're gonna apply the condition. So we're gonna make use of the sum method in JavaScript. So we're gonna say cart.sum. It's gonna take in a callback. So if in case the value.id equals to the item.id, then in that case our item is present inside the cart. Okay. So if if that's not the case, that means we have our item in the cart and we'll be showing the plus and minus button. Okay, so let's pretty much copy this thing, add to cart. So this is going to come in the else condition. That means if our item is not present. Okay, so if our item is present, that is if this condition becomes true, that means we need to show our quantity towards the left side the minus button and towards the right side our plus button. Okay, so let me just get the code for that minus button and plus button right now. Okay guys, I've just pasted the code for the minus button and the plus button. So we have done this in our previous projects as well. Okay, so you can just go through the code once. We have an outer pressable. Let's just format it once. And for each of the pressable, it has 3 children. This is the minus button, this is the item.quantity, and this is the plus button. Okay, so I think everything is initialized, that is even the pressable is there, and I think it should work properly. And you can check out the styles also. Okay, so I'll just give some time to check out the styles. So for each of the pressable, we have the text, and this is the minus button, and this is the styling for the text, and this is the item.quantity that's coming, and we have the plus button, and this is the styling for the text of the plus button. Okay, so similarly the styles are same for all the text, I guess. Okay, so I think that's it about this part. So the next thing we'll be looking into is the working, if it is working exactly or not. So if at all I press on the cart page, I mean the add to cart, it should show me this UI correctly, right? So let's try that out. So before that, let's come into our home screen first, and we'll be rendering our cart items. Okay, so for that reason, let's say const cart equals to, let's pretty much copy the previous value inside our menu item. Yeah, that is this one. Okay, so let's pretty much copy this piece of line and paste it over here. Okay, and again I'll be copying some piece of code that we've already used, that is menu item. So just a minute. So firstly, after the text, we'll be making use of the map function, that is cart.map. So since cart is an array, we can use map function on it. So item comma index. So for each item inside of our cart item, we'll be basically returning a pressable. Okay, so that's going to be over here inside a menu item. The pressable is going to be pretty much I think firstly we can initialize our view. Okay, let's initialize a pressable first, and inside the pressable we have the view coming up, which is going to contain the item.name and the image. So let's format once. Okay, so for this pressable, we'll be giving the same piece of styling that we gave to the menu item, this one. Let's copy that out and paste it over here. Let's format it. I'm just copying the same things that I've done already. Okay, just to make things fast. So after that, let's come back to the menu item. Now we need to show the buttons, right? So in the cart items, I mean in the cart page, we'll just be showing the button, that is this one, if at all the item is present. So in that case only we'll be showing the button. So this is going to come after this view. Okay, so that's the reason we have given the align items center and justify kind of space between, so that we have 2 children. One is this view, which contains the item.name and item.image, and the second one is basically all these items, that is the minus button, the plus button, and the item.quantity. So I think pressable is imported. Let's import pressable and save the file. Nothing should go wrong. Okay, so now let's understand one more time how exactly the add to cart functionality works if you have not understood it. So let's come back to the menu item. Okay, so add to cart item, we have just 2 events that is going to happen if we click on the add to cart button of any particular item. One is dispatch this that particular item. So I think this is very clear. So if you go to the cart reducer, firstly we're going to check the condition. If it is present, then just increase the quantity, else push that particular item into the cart array, not the product array. Okay, so inside our second dispatch event, we are just trying to increment the quantity. Okay, So as I already told, the products array is already filled with all these three images because of the use effect that is present and is triggered off whenever the home screen loads. Okay, so we'll be checking if that particular item, that is whatever we pressed on, is present inside our product array or not. Okay, of course if it is present, then we'll be just increasing the quantity of that item and then we'll be showing it over here. Okay, so I think hopefully it should work. So let's give it a try. So let's press on add to cart button. Okay, can't find variable image. Where did that go? Let's import image over here. And we have text image. I think let's save the file. Yeah, so there you go. Now hopefully you can see both the quantity has been increased. Okay, so we can see the same. So this is the cart page. So since we have added ice cream, so the quantity of ice cream is 1 over here. So the same quantity of ice cream over here is also 1. Okay, so why 1 over here is because we pressed on the add to cart button for the first time. What happened is it went into the else condition over here and it initialized the quantity as 1. Okay, and it pushed it into the cart array. So since we are mapping to the cart array over here, we'll be showing the item dot quantity as 1 itself. Okay, so I think that's it. So the next thing we'll be looking into is basically the remaining part, that is to dispatch let's say on the minus button and the plus button. So let's do that real quick. It's going to be super simple. So we're going to say on press. Okay, so here we'll be dispatching both of the events. So it's going to be increment quantity of item. Okay, is it already imported or it's already imported from the product user. So now we need to import it from our cart user. Okay, so increment, I think we have given the same name. I think that's what it is. I think that's what can cause the problem. So let's give this QTY and this also QTY. So this is for the cart user, just to remember that value. So let's keep it QTY and QTY over here as well. Save the file. Okay, there is nothing present now. Let's so let's refresh the app and start from the beginning. Okay, Redux shopping cart. Okay, so currently if I press on the add to cart button, yeah, you should be seeing the items being added into the cart. That is the products page and the cart page. So now inside our menu item, what we'll be doing is yeah, so dispatch increment quantity. This is for the, okay, firstly let's do it for the cart just to be sure. It's going to be QTY imported from cart user. So this is for the cart and the next call is for our product. So we're going to say increment quantity. So this has already been initialized in the previous method. It's going to be increment quantity of item. It's already been imported over here. Okay, so that's it about the minus button. Okay, so this one is for the product. So similarly it's going to be for the plus button as well. It's going to be on press, taking a function, add into dispatch events. It's going to be dispatch, come on, decrement quantity of product user of item. So this one is for the product user. The first one is always for the cart user. Okay, that's going to be decrement QTY and import from cart user, and the payload is going to be item that is coming from the props. Okay, both of them have been imported and initialized as well. So save the file. And the same thing we'll be doing for our main home screen where we have the cart page initialized. Okay, so I'll just be copying the same thing. Okay, no changes. So let's copy this. So this is going to come for the plus button inside our cart page. Okay, so pretty much paste it over here and import our required details, that is decrement quantity, increment quantity, dispatch is initialized or not. It is initialized, good. So now let's copy the same thing for our minus button, this one. Okay, so let's come back to our home screen and pretty much let's paste this for our minus button. And pretty much import this one from product from cart reducer and this one from product reducer. Save the file. Okay, so let's see if I press on the minus button. So this is present on the products page. So products page means menu item. So this is gonna get triggered off. Okay, so dispatch increment quantity. Okay, so if you press on the plus button, so basically if you go to the cart reducer, it should be increased by 1. And we are also doing the second thing, that is dispatch increment quantity, okay, of product. So basically, it should be in the menu item of product. Okay, so for product, it's going to be similar, increment the quantity by 1. So this also should be increased by 1 and this also should be increased by 1. So let's give that a try. Okay, we have an error. So let's look into that. Okay, so let's again try. So let's try for the second item that is being added. So if I press on the plus button, okay, that's not working. So let's see where exactly the error is happening. Okay, so let's refresh the app and open up from the beginning. Okay, so this is working fine. So let's say we press on the plus button of the cart. Okay, we have an error. So yeah, let's look into it properly. I think we have done mistake. Okay, while defining the action. So let's look into that properly. Oh, okay, my bad. So for the plus thing we have given wrong, and for the minus thing we have given the opposite thing, right? So this should come over here. So pressable should come. So this one should be over here and this one should be over here. Okay, my bad. So this one is for minus and that one is for plus. So let's see the same thing is there for a home screen or not. Okay, so pretty much let's copy this. So increment should be for our plus button, and okay, what did I miss? Yeah, so this one should be for our decrement button, minus button. Just did a slight mistake. Okay, save the file. Yeah, hopefully now it should work. Okay, so the one mistake we made was we just exchanged the different actions for the opposite symbols. Okay, so now let's press on add to cart. Okay, it's working from 2. Let's refresh the app and start it from the right beginning. Okay, so now let's open up our app right from the start and let's give it a try. Okay, so initially if I press on the plus button, you can see the item being added into the cart. So now if I press on this plus button, so just to remember, this is there inside our menu item. Okay, so these two events get gets triggered off. Okay, so basically let's press that. There you go. So 2 and 2, as you can see, both of them have been increased. Okay, so this one is for the cart and this one is for the product. Okay, so now if I press on the cart button, so cart page is present inside our home screen just to be sure, and we have the on press event over here. Okay, so again if I press on the 2 buttons, we have 2 events, that is for the dispatch increment quantity of item and then dispatch increment quantity of item. Both of them, that is one is for cart and one is for product. Okay, so for product also it's going to get increased. So let's give that a try. So there you go. So that part is working absolutely fine. So now let's try the minus button. So if I press on the minus button, so just to be sure, this is present inside a menu item. So products in the sense it's menu item. So again for minus button we have 2 dispatch events. One is for the cart and one is for the product. So for cart, it's basically going to check if the quantity is greater than 1, and for product also it's going to check if quantity is greater than 1. If it's greater than 1, it's just going to decrease the quantity by 1. Okay, let's give that a try. So there you go. So 2 over here, 2 over here. Let's again press 2 over here, 1 over here, 1 over here. So now the quantity has become 1, and now if I press on the minus button, it should pretty much remove that particular item from the cart. It should go into the first if condition of both the reducers, this condition, and it should pretty much filter out the item and it should show me the add to cart button again. Okay, so the same thing over here as well, because both of these definitions are same. It should go into the if condition and filter out that particular item and show me the add to cart button, and this should become empty. That is, for the cart it should become empty, it should not show anything. So let's give that a try, and there you go, that's it. Okay, so I think it's working properly fine, and we have completed the execution of the complete flow of the Redux shopping cart. Okay, and I think that's it about this video. We actually pretty much learned about how we can increment, I mean how we can, yeah, how we can increment the quantity in the products page as well as the cart page. So that was the main purpose of this video. Okay, so I think if you like this video, please hit the like button. Okay, so I think that's it about this video. So let's see you in the next video, and then thank you for watching.